Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our EAFC 24 Summer Career Mode and the penultimate episode of the Savers. Today we are going to play our final 5 league games in the Premier League where Crystal Palace looks set to clinch their first ever Premier League title. We'll also have both legs of our Champions League semi-final where we'll take on domestic rivals Manchester City as we look to reach the final of the competition as we go for a league and European double. We're kicking off today away at St Mary's to take on Southampton, where we know that a win will see us move 12 points clear of Arsenal in second place with just 4 points to go, and all but seal the Premier League title for the Eagles. Let's go and get the job done against a struggling Southampton side. Come on, you Eagles. Heading into this game here, the commentary team pre-match seem to think that we can clinch the title today. So unless there's something that I don't know, I mean, my maths has never been the greatest, but we'd be 12 clear with 4 to play as Whittaker hits the post and Cunha can't get there. So yeah, there is still technically a chance that Arsenal could catch us with goal difference coming into play. But unless Arsenal are playing today, then potentially they won't be able to catch us if they lose. But I'm not too sure. They seem to think we can clinch it today. Regardless of that, I'm just going for the victory. I want to keep the form going as we head into that Champions League semi-final. So with the backup brigade out there, hoping to get 3 points on the board and clinch us ever closer to that title. Well, it's been a pretty good start here already. Whittaker hitting the post and then straight down the other end. Southampton testing Aaron Ramsdale. Of course, new Southampton man in real life with him moving on from Arsenal to the Saints. Not been the greatest of starts for him in the Premier League. Southampton really struggling to kick off the new campaign as Whittaker this time stings. Oh, hello. Stings the palms of, I think it's Joe Lumley in the Southampton goal, and that is an absolute howler from the Saints. Jean-Philippe Mateta with the goal, but oh, what are those two doing? Absolute shocking defending, and Mateta says thank you very much on the swivel, powers it home to give us the lead, but what an absolute gift. Well, really good first half here from Palace, and I mentioned it in the intro, but pretty close to FC 25 now, and I really would love to end the FC 24 year with a league and European double with the Eagles. Unfortunately, we bottled the FA Cup in the previous episode, but as I say, I'd really love to finish this FC 24 cycle with a Champions League victory. Yeah, as I say, I'd love to end the FC 24 cycle with a Champions League win. Usually all of my saves are ended, big save by Ramsdale, with a Champions League win. You think back to all of our previous career modes, it's kind of the natural progression that you win the Champions League, Europe's elite, and you've kind of taken the team the furthest you can go winning Europe's elite. At least for me, that's kind of the furthest I feel I can go with a save. You can try and win it back to back and etc, carry on with, and kind of building a dynasty, but for me, once you've won the Champions League, it's like you've reached the peak level. But of course, with this save, we're running out of time. FC 25 just around the corner, with early access coming later in the week. And of course, we won't fit another season in. So this is our final season of the save. It looks as if we're going to win the Premier League, which will be a fantastic feat. But I'd love to end the game cycle with a Champions League as well. Great goal by this man, Rak-Saki there. And he's got a little bit more game time towards the end of the season, of course. With Kadioglu out injured, we might need him in that right wing-back, right midfield position. And he's just got an assist as well for Mateta. He's playing some fantastic stuff in the latter stages of this career. I said as soon as we started that I'm a big fan of his. He's gone out on loan to the Blades in real life, but I do think he's got a career at the top level in the future. And I think going to Bramall Lane for a season will really help his development. So one to keep an eye on in the future. And he's having an absolute stormer out there today at St Mary's. Crystal Palace looks set for 3 points on the road, and we're just that ever bit closer to clinching the Premier League title. Well, as we've just seen Mark Gurhey hand in a transfer request, I have to say I do hope with FC 25 round the corner, I really hope this is one thing they look at with the player sort of squad role, although I think they're being scrapped this year, I'm not too sure, and how that impacts a player. We've had Tamori and Gurhey both now submit transfer requests. Of course, it doesn't make any difference as it's the end of the save. We're not going into next season anyway, but moving forward, I do just really hope they look into this because I've been stung by it a few times in previous saves. Starting off at home at Selhurst Park, looking to get a positive result in the home tie to take to the Etihad, where we've already won twice this season. You would say potentially on form this season that we are the favourites, having beaten Man City multiple times and being top of the domestic league. But of course, this is Man City in Europe, so a completely different kettle of fish. But jumping into the first leg, looking for a positive result to take to the Etihad. Come on, you Eagles. Underway here in South London. As I say, we've developed a rivalry with Manchester City. Of course, you're going to have a rivalry with them if you're going for domestic honours, and that's exactly what we've had, especially this season. We've had some cracking games against them. Of course, we dumped them out of the FA Cup in the quarter-final stage before our defeat to Bournemouth in the previous episode with that dominant 3-0 victory at the Etihad. We also beat them by a 1-0 in the league as Cunha's strike is turned away, and Diaz into Haaland looking to turn. Tamori does well, but it's back to Erling Haaland, and we get bodies in the way of the strike. Haaland again, and Ramsdale's behind it just before the break. City testing us for the first time. Michael Elise, the former Eagle, will swing the corner in. It's flicked on, and Ramsdale gets there again. Couple of important stops at the end of the first half as we remain deadlocked at 0-0, waiting for the breakthrough. And Cunha comes infield. It's good from the Eagles. There's Matthias Sule. Looks to bend one. Just gets a little bit too much on it as he had Ederson worried. Always rising and going over the top, but another warning sign for Man City. Matthias Cunha comes across to take the corner. We know we are dangerous from these. Pacho goes up and somehow gets there in front of his man and heads in the opening goal for Crystal Palace. I didn't think he was getting there. It looked as if the man who was in front of him was favourite and he missed it, and Ederson makes a bit of a meal of it too. Manchester City trail at Selhurst Park. Is a cheap goal to concede, but Palace will not care one bit. Pacho heads us into the lead, and what a huge goal that could be. Rodri into Erling Haaland. Moretti on the edge, well blocked by Decore, and there is the whistle. Crystal Palace do hold on to grind out the 1-0 victory, and that goal from William Pacho could be a big one as we travel to the Etihad for the second leg. Got our eyes fixed on that Champions League final, our first year in the competition, and Crystal Palace showing just how seriously they should be taken. Already knocked out Juventus, already knocked out Atletico Madrid, and now halfway to knocking out Manchester City as well. Big win here in South London. Well, thankfully we see the injury for Matthias Sule is just a 5-day bruise, but he will miss our clash at the Emirates here as we take on the Gunners, who need a victory to keep any slim chance of their title dreams alive. I'm going to make plenty of changes with that second leg in mind in midweek, but still looking for a victory here that would see us crowned Premier League champions with just 3 to play. Come on, you Eagles. Yeah, I've made quite a few changes for this one here with Manchester City in that second leg in mind. And I have to say, I would not be one bit surprised if we fall short here today, because for us... Oh, Whittaker denied. Cunha straight at Dean Henderson. Kimmich. Oh, that's a good ball into Ødegaard. Now Havertz, and there's the opening goal. It's the German who gets it. From one end, Crystal Palace with a chance, but Kai Havertz finishing off in front of the home crowd to give Arsenal the lead. It's a nice little move. The pass by Ødegaard's fantastic, and the finish into the corner past the former gunner Aaron Ramsdale. Havertz, the goal scorer. Trouble for us here. Looks to turn Chris Richards. Saka now has it. Saka with the cross. Martinelli. Oh, how has that gone in? Right before the break. How has that gone in from that range? Question marks over Aaron Ramsdale getting beaten from there. Surely he just comes out and catches it. I want to see it again on the replay. Saka down the right does well. Swings the cross in, but he's beyond the penalty spot. For me, Ramsdale has to get there. It's a good header, but Arsenal double their lead just before the break and look set to close the gap to just 6 in the Premier League title race with 3 fixtures remaining. Well, that's going to do it here at the Emirates, and Arsenal get the win that they were after to close the gap at the top. I'm not too worried with just 3 games to go. It's only our second defeat of the season in the league, and Arsenal lead us to lose 2 of our remaining 3. So I'm still pretty confident that we'll get the job done. But we are just sort of stumbling over the line. But of course, the Champions League at the forefront of our minds. A much rotated side today. And heading to the Etihad for the second leg. Leading by 1. Looking to make the Champions League final. There's jumping into the second leg. This is the big one heading to the Etihad. Bayern Munich leading the other semi-final by 2-1. Heading back to the Allianz Arena in Munich. So could it be the Germans in the final if we are to make it there? Would be a big clash. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Still 90 minutes plus potentially extra time and penalties before we will find out who will reach the final. We do hold the aggregate 1-goal lead heading into the second leg, so a clean sheet will be enough to send us through to the final. Massive clash here. Come on, you Eagles. Here we go then, underway, and good to have this man Matthias Süle in the lineup. I'm glad that it wasn't anything longer than a 5-day bruise, because as I say, he's been very influential for us. Was pretty quiet in the first leg, but we know he's come up big in the Champions League this season with some important goals. So hoping if we get a chance today, it falls to that man. Here's Doucouré. Oh, Doucouré! So unlucky. He scored an absolute screamer here, I think last season in the Premier League, and he really gets behind that. It just flashes wide of Ederson's goal, and Crystal Palace so close to doubling their lead. Finds Elise. He's into the middle for Foden, and a big save by Aaron Ramsdale. The 2 former Palace men linking up there. Well, 5 to go before the break here, and thus far, nothing to report on. But that's how quickly Man City can turn it on. And it's the Norwegian tank, Erling Haaland, who gets them back on level terms. Just a quick little move. Rodri into Elise, steps away from Pacho, and the pass into Haaland gets him past Tomori, who can't recover. The finish is superb. And Man City are back on level terms. Well, neither team had really got going in that first half. It was a proper stalemate at 0-0, but that goal from Erling Haaland couldn't really have come at a worse time for Crystal Palace. And now you'd say Man City probably in the ascendancy. We won it late against Juventus at Selhurst Park, looking to do the same here again before heading to extra time. Süle to whip the corner in. It's dangerous. Pacho! We have won it late. And it's Willian Pacho again. He scored in the first leg. He scores in the second. And that will send Crystal Palace to the Champions League final. What a fantastic ball by Sule. Pacho gets his head to it. No chance for Ederson. And the big central defender has single-handedly sent Crystal Palace to their first ever Champions League final. And we've done it again in Manchester City's own backyard. And straight from kickoff, there is the whistle. I was just preparing and thinking about extra time and who my subs were going to be. And we didn't even reach it. Willian Pacho with the header. Pep Guardiola can't believe it. And it's going to be a very rare season without silverware for Manchester City. They're out of the title race. They're now out of Europe as well. And it's Crystal Palace in our first year in the competition marching on to the final. But who is it that we're going to face? Bayern Munich or the Spaniards, Sevilla? Well, let's find out who it is we will face. I have a feeling it's going to be Bayern Munich unless the Spaniards can complete the turnaround, and we will be taking on. It is Sevilla, who won 2-0 at the Allianz in Bayern Munich's own backyard. They're known usually for their Europa League exploits, but this time it's the Champions League, and two, I guess you could say, underdogs reaching the final. And you don't often see that in the Champions League. So it will be Sevilla, who have a lot more European experience than us, but still not one of the favourites for the competition, taking on Crystal Palace, first year in the competition, and both sides will be looking to lift the silverware at the beginning of June. That is absolutely huge as Sevilla complete the comeback. But jumping into our next game, travelling to Villa Park to take on Emery's side. The gap is currently 6, but we do have the game in hand. So even just a point here, I believe, on the road, yeah, we'll extend the gap to 7 with just 2 to play, and we'll claim Crystal Palace their first ever Premier League trophy. So a point will do it. Let's jump into it. Lots of changes once again with this coming on the back of that Champions League semi-final. We know that we're all but there. Come on, you Eagles. Well, we know that just a point today will be enough to see us crowned champions, but a really tough place to visit it, coming to take on Emery's side. They got a very, very good team, and before in the first couple of seasons, we had a bit of a rivalry with Aston Villa. Of course, faced them in that FA Cup final back in Season 1 and had some big clashes in the league with them when both teams were competing for European places. As Daichi gets away in for Mateus Cunha today and hits it with the left instead of the right. What a big chance. And Daichi Kamada can't even hit the target. 20 minutes to play here at Villa Park, and it's been an awful, awful game. And this will be such an anticlimactic way to win the title if we are to close it out today. Of course, just a point needed, but Villa looking for all 3. Esposito's shot blocked. A couple of subs for Villa looking to get them in front. Shot blocked again, and Raksaki all clear. João Neves lets fly, and it'll be a corner for Villa. Crystal Palace seconds away from clinching that Premier League title. Just needed a point here today. Corner swung in. Ramsdale comes for it and claims. And it's an awful, awful game. But that is enough for Crystal Palace. Where are the celebrations? Come on, lads. Where are those celebrations? We're 7 points clear with 2 games to go. Are we not? Have I miscalculated this? I'm sure that's enough for the title today. It's a terrible, terrible game. Neither side ever really looked like scoring, and I think we would have played all night and it still would have been 0-0. No real celebrations, but I'm pretty sure that's the title wrapped up, unless I'm mistaken. Well, as we head back into the menus, I'm not really too sure what's going on. We've surely done it. Arsenal play tomorrow away against Brighton, but we're already 7 clear with just 2 games to play. Even if Arsenal won both of theirs, they'd go to 77, and they can't catch us. Newcastle too far back. No one else can reach us. And the fans and the players just didn't celebrate it whatsoever. Well, we'll jump into the next game regardless. It's Fulham at home, so I guess we'll be able to clinch it in the game at home at Selhurst Park. And we might potentially see the title lift. I'm not sure if that will come on the final day at home to Burnley. But yeah, really strange scenes here. Let's jump into our next game. It is Fulham at home, looking to return to winning ways in the Premier League. Come on, you Eagles. I'll be honest, this is a pretty poor Fulham side. They've not got a lot of quality out there, so we should be looking to return to winning ways. Got a much stronger lineup out there today. And as Matheus Cunha races away, should have the finish and clips it in off the underside of the bar. We know that the title's not officially been won in the game, or it doesn't seem so at least anyway, but nobody can catch us. A win here today should confirm it, at least in the game. And we'll see the celebrations and maybe the title lift today as well. And Matheus Cunha's got us off to the perfect start. I want a big win today. Let's go and get 4 or 5. Tamori, great tackle. Decore finds Sule. There's Mateta. Surely this is going to be 2. Mateta absolutely drills it in. And there is our second. It has been a really poor game today, but Crystal Palace going to get the job done nonetheless. Title wrapped up and Crystal Palace winning by 2-0. Late corner for the Eagles. Zach Hurst will take us into the middle, and Pacho, he's in fantastic form at the moment. Grabs our 3rd of the game and his 3rd in just 4 matches as well. William Pacho in great goal scoring form, and Crystal Palace will wrap up the victory with a comfortable 3-goal lead. Pacho on the score sheet once again. Mateta reaching 26 for the season. Well, at full time, are we going to see the celebrations? No? Yes. We are going to see the celebrations finally. William Pacho rounded off the victory for Crystal Palace. Mateta on the score sheet once again. His 26th goal of the campaign. And I don't think he's quite going to reach 30 unless he can grab 4 on the final day. But still a fantastic goal scoring return for Mateta. He was 20 in season 1, 21 last year, and he's now up to 26 with 1 game to go in the Premier League. We are going to see the trophy lift today, and the red, white and blue ribbons on the Premier League trophy as Mark Gurhey, the captain, he's been here since day 1, one of the OGs, will be lifting the Premier League trophy for Crystal Palace. As we have done it, your Premier League champions in Season 3 of The Save. We've dethroned Man City after 7 in a row, if you include the real life 4P that they won in recent seasons. But yeah, Crystal Palace finally knocking Manchester City off their winning streak and winning their first ever Premier League trophy. Well, as we head into the final game of the season, we will host Burnley at Selhurst Park. A nice home game to round off the season. Just 2 defeats in the Premier League and by far the best defensive record with just 19 goals conceded. 7 clear of Arsenal with a game to play, but it does look as if we're going to be clear winners in the end. Newcastle and West Ham also in 3rd and 4th, with Man City trying to make up the ground to qualify for the Champions League next season. Spurs and Liverpool in 6th and 7th, with United in 8th. Aston Villa and Brighton round off the top half of the table, with Chelsea just a point behind in 11th, and battling for survival down at the bottom. Southampton already relegated, but Luton and Fulham occupying those 2 final relegation spots, looking to claw their way out, with Everton and Burnley looking to hold on to safety in the Premier League. Still a reasonable amount to play for. Let's jump into the final round of fixtures, looking to finish the Premier League campaign off with a victory. Come on, you Eagles. Lacroix brings it free, finds Wilfried Zaha. There's Mateta. Milan now. Nice little burst through the middle. Mateta's there. Mateta opens the scoring against the run of play just before the break. And it's Crystal Palace taking the lead once again. And Jean-Philippe Mateta with another goal in the Premier League. I believe that's goal 27 now. It's been against the run of play. Burnley have been the better side as that replay's a bit glitchy. Not sure what's going on there. But Jean-Philippe Mateta fires it past Muric to give Crystal Palace the lead. And Burnley a little bit worried about the other results coming in that could drag them into one of those two final relegation spots. Well, I have to say, I'm really sorry, guys. The games in this episode have been pretty disappointing. The two semi-finals were entertaining, but the Premier League games today have been absolutely shocking. That pass there straight out of play just sort of sums it up. And yeah, my passing's just really not been on it today. Been really, really poor. I'm hoping we're going to perform better in that Champions League final in the season finale next episode, but we have just not been on it today. Again, giving the ball away. Well, that's going to do it here at Selhurst Park. Again, a really poor game, and apologies for the lack of quality on display in today's episode, but we did achieve what we set out to at the beginning of the episode. We clinched that Premier League title and, of course, made it to the Champions League final that will come in the next episode. The series finale and the last episode of FC24 before we begin our new save on FC25. Really looking forward to that, but still one more job to be done. Well, there's a final look at the Premier League table as we finish 7 points clear of Arsenal in the end. I thought we were going to have a really closely contested title race between ourselves and Man City, but nobody could stick with us towards the end of the campaign. Newcastle and West Ham managed to hold on the final day, both with victories to wrap up Champions League football for next year. Manchester City, even with a win at the G-Tech, will have to settle for 5th place and Europa League next year, with Spurs and Liverpool in 6th and 7th. United do hold out for 8th place, with Brighton and Chelsea wrapping up the top half. Aston Villa dropped to 11th on the final day, and you can see the middle of the patch here. But it is Southampton, Luton and Fulham who are relegated. Fulham losing at St James's Park, and Luton were held to a 2-2 draw by already relegated Southampton. So Burnley survive on the final day. But most importantly, it is Crystal Palace clinching their first ever Premier League title in the club's history. And you know what, to close out the episode, we'll have a look at the individual awards with Jean-Philippe Mateta finally getting his hands on the Golden Boot. 27 goals in 38. His best scoring season in our 3 seasons at the club. And Erling Haaland with a pretty measly 13 in 36. Unlike him, I think that Mateta was the only player we had in the top 25. That just goes to show how crucial he was. Matthias Soulé winning back-to-back assist titles with 14 in 32. He was fantastic on that right-hand side. We had quite a few players with good numbers. Cunha picking up 7 in 36. Mateta himself had 6 in 38, and I think Wharton, 6 in 22 for the Englishman as well. And as for clean sheets, it was the new man Aaron Ramsdale. It was an English 1-2-3. Ramsdale, our new number 1, winning it by 10 with 23 in 38. Nick Pope was second, although it should really have gone to Dean Henderson, with them both being on 13, with Dean playing 10 less games. But nonetheless, Nick Pope and Dean Henderson in second and third. Quick look at the team of the tournament as well, as Aaron Ramsdale wins goalkeeper of the season, but it probably means he won't be in the team of the tournament. Yeah, it's so broken that Nick Pope, Davis, Gabriel, Diaz, Porro, Son, Erdegaard, Cunha, Saka, Mateta and Isak. I'm surprised that Matthias Soulé didn't get in. Bukayo Saka in there over him. But we do have 2 representatives. We've not been robbed this time. But guys, that is where we will end it for today's episode. Crystal Palace, a 5-star team now. And you've got to remember, we're not the Crystal Palace side that we started off with. This is a Premier League winning, a Champions League finalist Crystal Palace side who we've built over the last 3 years. We've got some real quality, and we're looking to round off the save with that Champions League victory in the next episode. You definitely won't want to miss that one, guys, so keep an eye out. It will be out very soon. In fact, I think if you're watching this on release day, it will be out tomorrow, so you won't have to wait long. Keep an eye out for it. We'll be back hunting that league and European treble. I'll catch you for it very soon, guys. I hope you have enjoyed, and peace.